Hey folks, my name's René Enriquez, and you are watching Uncensored.
This is René Enriquez. Nickname Bootser. Blackhand of the Mexican Mafia. Prison gang politics.
Well, today we're going to tell a little story, do a little profile on an old buddy of mine, Donald Ortiz, also known as Lil Man from Whittier Barrio Locos. We all know that he was eliminated on November 19th in 2021 in Chino, California. And you got some of the details on that. Obviously, it's been in the Times and a couple other publications. But there's a whole backstory behind it that a lot of people don't understand. See, Lil Man, or Donnie, really got into the organization on false pretenses, right? And the very individual who sponsored him, Daniel Grajeda Cuate, is the one who turned on him and pushed a hard campaign against him. But it was valid. It was valid. Donnie first came to the view of the organization when there's an individual by the name of David Davila Kojak, who was a Mexican Mafia member who needed to be eliminated. Years before that, in Folsom State Prison, Alpi Sosa attempted to eliminate Kojak in the Shoe 2 yard. He actually assaulted him with a manufactured weapon, also known as a shank, right? That's what they're called in the CDCR Rules Violations Report. But he stabbed him on the yard and only stabbed him in the elbow. After that, I don't know what the reason that Kojak was placed on the Lista. I remember I was told, but that was about 40 years ago, and I can't remember the reason. But he was placed on the Lista, and had been no good ever since. Lo and behold, years later, Negro Villalba, Jesse Pelon Moreno, and a couple other brothers are in the general population in Los Angeles County Jail. This is in the 1980s. And who is there? Kojak. Kojak is there. So the Carnales, who could have done the hit themselves, didn't. They sent camaradas. They sent wire to Lil Man Ortiz, the individual who was eliminated, Donald Ortiz. Donald Ortiz goes and asks Lil Man from Echo Park to do the hit. And Lil Man performs. They take an ODR, an officer's dining room butter knife, and they stab Kojak in the throat, and he's eliminated. Lil Man goes down to high power, 1750 or 1700, and professes to have taken care of it himself. Later on in court discovery, it's determined that Lil Man from Echo Park did the hit. That puts a bad taste in everybody's mouth, because Cuate, during that period, sponsors him into the organization, and he's a made carnal now. He gets 2 years, he gets out, and Cuate contacts him again. The one thing about Cuate Grajeda is that he never wanted to take his phone calls. Nobody wanted to take his phone calls. The one complaint is that he's always going to ask you to eliminate somebody or do something. It's never a, hey, brother, how you doing? Just wanted to say, take care of yourself and your family and be well. It was never that. Cuate was always on conspiracy mode, always attempting to eliminate somebody, always attempting to control somebody. Like, this guy's got to go, you're there, why don't you take care of it, right? Or contact this person and get this for me, or bring me clavo. I remember when I talked to him, Cuate Grajeda actually sent me on a mission with his brother, Daniel Grajeda. There was an individual who was a carnal, and Cuate wanted him eliminated, and I told him I would do it. Lo and behold, I'm ready. I'm waiting the day of, because I contacted Thomas Grajeda, Wino. I said, bring him down here. We'll take him for a ride. I'll do the deed, and we go our separate ways. Wino never shows. Wino never shows. Wino wasn't a doer. He got in on his brother's coattails. Excuse me, folks. It's early in the morning. I just had my coffee and my first dip, so I'm a little throaty right now. And for those of you who think otherwise, no, I am not. I am not using drugs. I remember I was sniffling in one of the recordings, and somebody says, "Are you, using again?" You know, that is insanity. I'm just having my coffee, doing a little dip, and waking up, folks, and I'm right at it. Hey, folks, we're so thankful for the time invested in watching our channel. It takes a lot of energy to continue to bring you this fire content, and we keep pushing as long as we have coffee. Now, you can buy us a cup of coffee. Check out our link in the page description, the pinned comment on each post or video. If you love what we do and you're able, you can purchase a cup of coffee for myself and my editor. Thank you again and have a great day, folks. Peace out. So, anyways, Wino doesn't show. So this is the kind of guy Guat is. And then on another occasion, he asked me to go pick up some controlled substances and turn myself in. And I had a traffic warrant, and I was going to do it. I took the substances. I picked them up from Tony Palacios. I'm supposed to bring them to the county jail. I go to Parker Center, the Glass House in downtown Los Angeles, turn myself in, and I say, look, I got 2 traffic warrants or, whatever I had. And they cited me out. So here I am with a pocket full of keistered controlled substances, black tar actually, and I call Tony Palacios, say, hey, they kicked me loose. What do I do? He says, keep it. That's the kind of guy Tony P was. He was a really cool, laid-back guy. Guate, on the other hand, I knew immediately that he was going to use that against me at some point. So he ripped me off. So I called Tony P and just told him, hey, I got this. This is supposed to go to Guate. What do I do with it? He says, keep it. I kept it. I sold it. So Donnie gets out and Guate contacts him, right? This is after the whole Kojak thing. He got 2 years for it. His co-defendant, Lil Man from Echo Park, got 11 years for, I believe it was a manslaughter. And Donald Ortiz was convicted as an aider and abettor, and he received 2 years. That's all they got on the elimination of Kojak. So Donnie's out there and is asked by Guate to do something. It involved a car. He was provided a firearm, and he didn't do it. Lost the firearm. And he comes back to the county jail. Guate is already campaigning hard on him. And Donnie's doing nothing. He's in high power with me. Ends up on the tier with us, with a couple of carnales, and we tell him, "Hey, bro, Guate wasn't in the hat yet. He had already been. Indio had already attempted to eliminate him in the shower. I told you a whole incident about Henry Carlos when he attempted to eliminate Guate, but stopped. He had Guate on the floor, had stabbed him multiple times, and let him up, and stopped the assault." So Guate was attempting to make a rebound. During that process, Lil Man comes into the county jail. I'm there fighting my homicides, and a bunch of other carnales are there. And we know Guate's campaigning on Lil Man. And everybody kind of likes Lil Man, right? I mean, he's kind of a no account. He doesn't do anything. He doesn't make money. He does petty crimes, and he comes to jail for stupid, ridiculous crimes like stealing cars and, jacking people for stuff and, just kind of dumb stuff. He's kind of got that gang member mentality. He hangs out in Whittier all the time with his homeboys and gangbangs. That was his get down, right? That's all he really knew. He was just like a little YA baby or a little juvenile hall baby, right? So he gets to the county jail with me, and I had talked to a couple of brothers and says, well, the guy's allowed to defend himself. Let him defend himself. So I tell him, look, Guate's right there. He's on Baker Row. We're on Abel Row. I give him a massive bone crusher. I'm talking about a massive knife. And I give him a handcuff key, a real handcuff key. And I tell him, here you go, bro. It's on you. Nobody's going to do it for you. You know, you have the right to defend yourself. And he doesn't do it. We're shocked. You know, like, you have all day to set up a visit with Cuate and go out there and eliminate him, and he doesn't do it. In fact, he loses the knife. He puts the knife in a trash bag hanging off his cell bars in front of his cell. And the cops go and snatch it. So I get back from court one day and I ask him, hey, where's the fierro? Where's the pedazo at, right? The knife. And he said, I lost it, bro. So I said, give me my key. It was then that I knew, like, this guy is crap, right? This guy ain't got it. You know, if somebody's politicking on me and attempting to have me eliminated, I'm going out there and I'm whacking him. That's just, you know, M at 101. You know, you respond with violence immediately. So he gets out. And I asked him to do something that involved an elimination. Well, it was planned that way. And provide him with a firearm, automobile, everything. And what does he do? He doesn't do it. It's then that, you know, it's then that everybody just says, you know what? F this guy. He's a no account. He's never going to do anything. All he's about is getting high and doing his stupid stuff in the hood. And everybody turned their back on him. Then you see the brothers involved in U.S. versus Alex Aguirre et al., that RICO series, that hotel series of meetings, Donnie has discussed, and he's officially put on the Lista. But lo and behold, Donnie doesn't lock up. He's advised because the feds and law enforcement are obligated to warn people and offer them protection if their life is in danger. Donnie refuses. He's advised, he's admonished, and he goes back to jail. And what happens? He gets stabbed in Chino, California. In fact, he gets stabbed everywhere. He's been assaulted a number of times, and Donnie refuses to go PC. So you got to give him that. I mean, he was too dumb to understand it was over. He had a chance to just move away and do what he did, but he hung out. One day he gets arrested in Chino, California. I think it was for an auto theft. I could be mistaken, but his address was publicly published in a newspaper. And that's how they found him. So an individual by the name of Cesar Palomino, age 49, came in from Las Vegas. He comes in from Las Vegas. He studies Donald Ortiz. He gets a nearby hotel. They ping his cell phone, his communications, and he plans out Donnie's execution. And there are a couple different variations of what happened, but it's essentially the same. This individual, Cesar Palomino, who is the cousin of a made Mexican Mafia member, goes to Donald's house on the morning of the execution. He sees Donald's wife and says, hey, does Donald Ortiz live here? She says, yeah, but he went out for a walk. He's wearing a blue jacket, dressed like a probation officer or a marshal. And says, well, I need to speak to him. I'm his parole agent. And lo and behold, Donald comes up. He walks up at that specific time. He says, hey, I need to talk to you about a murder. Can we talk out of the presence of your wife? Donald Ortiz says, no. Whatever you got to say, you can say in front of my wife. And then asks the question, what murder? And Cesar Palomino pulls out a gun and says, yours. Boom. Fires one round into his head and kills him. He doesn't take action against the woman. He takes off running through apartments and gets away. Later on, Chino police arrest Cesar Palomino, and he's recorded on a phone line speaking about the event. He says, to become a butterfly, you must eat a butterfly, which is a direct reference to the mariposa, right? The mariposa, meaning butterfly in Spanish, is an alternative name for the organization. So they go to the prelim. They have a ton of evidence against Palomino, and that's pending adjudication now. That case is unresolved as of this date, I believe. Again, it could be mistaken. But the last was the preliminary hearing pending jury trial. His father testifies against him. His father's just a paisa, innocent, doesn't know anything about the criminal world. I'm not saying anything bad about him, but the prosecutor pulls out a picture on cross-examination and asks the father, "Who's in this picture?" He said, "That's my son." And it's a surveillance picture from the area that Palomino was in around the specific area where the homicide took place. So he's damned. He's done, right? And I dare say he's not going to become a butterfly. He's not going to go through this metamorphosis, emerging from the chrysalis as a beautiful butterfly. No, he's not going to do that. But that was Donald's life, right? It was filled with strife and struggle. I think that Donnie didn't possess the intelligence to recognize that he had an opportunity to escape the entire life. He kept gravitating back to the hood, participating in petty crimes, returning to prison multiple times, and being assaulted on every occasion, and actually refused to go into protective custody. In fact, Sergeant Richard Valdemar in the Mexican Mafia Metropolitan Task Force on Violent Crime, one of the first Mexican Mafia task forces, I believe it was the first, gave him high praise. That Donnie wasn't a coward, that he didn't run, and he spoke highly of Donnie. I know multiple IGIs that approached Donnie and told him, "Hey man, they're gonna whack you." Cardenales did whack him. Camaradas whacked him. He was declared open season. Like anywhere he went, he was just getting whomped on. He got dogged out. He got put on the shine. Then they had this disregard thing where nobody would talk to him. But he went about it like nobody's business. Like, "Hey man, I'm a cardan. I'm a cardan." Nobody gave him that recognition, because he was on the Lista and he'd been stripped of his status. But Donnie just went until he was eliminated. And it's a sad ending for a guy, that really wasn't cut out for this kind of thing. So that's the story behind the story. I mean, you've heard 1,000 different versions on this. Everybody's done a version. And this is no reaction. This is my personal experience with the guy, right? Because we don't do reaction videos here, and I wasn't going to jump on board immediately and do a story because everybody else did a story. That's just not my get down. But I wanted to bring you like behind the scenes of Donald Ortiz and let you know a little bit about the guy. So our condolences to his family and his wife or girlfriend. I truly mean that. He was a friend, but unfortunately he wasn't cut out for this line of work, And I'm just sad that he came to that end and didn't take advantage of the opportunity to relocate when he could. Even a couple towns away, he would have been fine. But he gravitated back towards shenanigans, and that's what led to his demise. With that said, folks, that's going to wrap up this episode of Uncensored. I hope you'll like this little profile and behind-the-scenes story on Lil Man Ortiz from Whittier Barrio Locos. As always, stay safe, folks. Enjoy your day. Peace out.
This is René Enriquez. Nickname Boots.